When was the last time that your team discussed ESG? If you chose the final option, you're not alone. A shocking 70% of insurers feel that they haven't yet fully considered their company's ESG commitments and disclosures. Research by law firm DWF shows that 65% of insurers surveyed believe that poor ESG performance has had a substantial negative impact on their company, and 55% have experienced increased stakeholder pressure on ESG matters. The insurance industry has fallen behind other sectors, and the combination of weak ESG scores and failure to meet stakeholder expectations means that a crisis is looming. A key building block in our Bridge to Tomorrow will be demonstrating that actuaries are searching for a proactive and innovative solution. ESG factors describe the ways a company interacts with the environment, people, and the regulatory structures under which it operates. But in today's rapidly evolving corporate world, that won't be enough. My proposed Bridge to Tomorrow is the addition of a new category to the ESG framework, which represents one of the biggest shifts in modern business: the way we interact with data. The current ESG framework addresses data security and privacy through the governance category by asking whether the company complies with GDPR and similar regulation. But as businesses become increasingly data-driven, we will need to start asking about and reporting on questions of data ethics in machine learning, data quality, which underpins all the analysis and modelling that we do, and whether businesses are communicating data-driven decisions to stakeholders in accessible and transparent ways. While improving our reporting on existing ESG factors is a vital part of the solution to the ESG crisis in insurance, expanding our coverage to include data-related factors will show stakeholders that the actuarial profession is committed to maintaining a relevant and forward-looking framework for assessing ESG risks and impacts. So, what would data reporting actually cover? I've got 4 main topics to start us off: data quality, data transparency or accessibility, data interpretability, and data ethics or fairness. The 2 main concerns for companies here would be defining reporting metrics that allow meaningful comparisons between companies, and defining metrics that enable reporting to be useful without divulging commercially sensitive information. Let's start with data quality. This covers basics such as the prevalence of missing values or inconsistencies in datasets, but can be expanded to include questions like: what proportion of a company's datasets have accurate, well-maintained data dictionaries or documentation? Is the company using data which is relevant and up-to-date? Is there an established methodology for data collection, entry, and validation? A study by Munich Re found that 56% of potential life or health insurance customers felt unable to accurately answer complex medical questions, indicating huge potential for errors in that data. Can insurers identify ways that they respond to this uncertainty in their use of data? Now onto the topic of interpretability. With the rise of machine learning in insurance and finance, the use of increasingly complex models, and so-called black boxes, has posed the question of how models obtain the output that they give. As an example, in the past, underwriting rules looked something like this. Today, insurers are exploring the use of machine learning models for underwriting. Decision trees and related models such as random forests look very similar to manual underwriting in their simplest forms. But as the models become more complex, it's difficult to visualize and explain them. If it's not possible to explain exactly how a model has arrived at its conclusion, then it's hard to decide if the method that it used was actually fair. For example, since the introduction of gender-neutral pricing regulation, insurers have been unable to use gender as an input into pricing models. However, a black box machine learning model may use a combination of other variables as a proxy for gender, defying the spirit of the legislation without anyone knowing that it has occurred. Interpretability problems can also occur when a model gives output which defies common sense and internal consistency. For example, if a customer is quoted a lower premium for a policy with a 15-year term than a 10-year term. Reporting on fairness and interpretability could include answering questions about the sense checks a company has in place for the output of its models, whether the company has made efforts to identify societal biases in training data and potentially unfair features in its pricing models, and whether the company can provide adequate explanation of the pricing decisions that it would make on a given sample of people. The Python package FairLearn is an example of an attempt to quantify fairness in machine learning. Given a model and a list of groups of people, such as women, ethnic minorities, or groupings based on income, it can calculate metrics to assess fairness-related harms, such as the model's accuracy for each group. A model may be considered unfair if some of the groups score significantly worse than others, especially if those groups are already underprivileged in society. this type of analysis could be included in the ESG report. Interpretability is also closely connected to transparency. If a suitable explanation for a model's output is found, is that communicated to customers? A recent study by the Association of British Insurers explored customer perceptions of insurance pricing and how data is used to calculate premiums. The results indicated that an alarming 70% of customers believed their gender was used in pricing, a practice now forbidden by EU regulation, and that none of the study participants were aware of the existence of cross-subsidy in the insurance sector, indicating fundamental gaps in consumers' understanding of insurance pricing. While sharing a detailed breakdown of their quoted premium with a customer would help resolve this confusion, companies would be unlikely to adopt such a solution for fear of giving away too much information to competitors. So it's not likely to occur without regulatory pressures. Insurers could instead consider sharing a list of the most important variables used in pricing, or simply a few of the variables with the highest impact on premium. For now, reporting here may be a yes-no question on whether the company is doing anything to make pricing more transparent to stakeholders, or a metric representing the results of a survey, investigating stakeholders' understanding of the pricing process. Hopefully tomorrow's insurers will prioritize data transparency solutions and be able to make more detailed contributions to this aspect of reporting. It's clear that tomorrow's actuaries will need to commit to a stronger focus on ESG. Today's actuaries can start building the bridge to tomorrow by rethinking the ESG framework to reflect the emerging risks that a company's use of data poses for stakeholders, pushing for the development of benchmarks and standards for reporting on data, and starting a conversation about data as part of ESG reporting in their own workplaces. So let's get that conversation going right now. Comment below. At present, is ESG a regular discussion topic for your team? And in the future, what data-related reporting would you be most interested in seeing?